Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of A Legionary's Life. This game is a game centered around you controlling a Roman legionary during the Second Punic War between Rome and Carthage. Famously, where in the end, Rome did defeat Carthage and thus kind of began their hegemony over the Mediterranean. There's 3 kind of campaigns. We'll play through Spain, Africa, and then there's actually a 3rd campaign which involves the Roman incursion into Greece. So with that all said, I'll kind of go through this game and kind of give you the different parts of it. First off, the idea with this game is that over time, as you complete more and more runs, you get more and more character creation points. Those character creation points allow you to expand the abilities of your character, and you gradually get stronger and stronger and stronger the more you play. But for this game, I'm calling it a Soldier of Mars game because essentially I'm using some tools to go ahead and basically make our Legionary a super soldier almost. You can see he's got 120 of the different skills and 300 of the different attributes, which means he'll be pretty powerful in combat. Normally, starting out base game, if you had no character creation points whatsoever, all your attributes start roughly around 50, and your all your weapon skills start roughly around 30. So you can see we've definitely increased it from there. In addition, we have started off with a lot of money. Now that money is actually mainly gained through my previous playthroughs of this game, because this is one of my all-time favorite games. So we have gone ahead and gone shopping, basically buying the equipment we need. That is another big part of this game, is buying and selling equipment. You really can only buy and sell 4 different things. You can buy helmets, armor, your sword, and greaves. The shield you can't do anything with, and the javelins or pilum you cannot buy or do anything else with. So with that being said, at the beginning of the game you do kind of get some lower tier gear, so over the course of the game we'll go ahead and try and up our quality of gear as we get deeper and deeper. Another big part of this game is opinions from your troop, your centurion, and your proconsul. So your troop is just the other 119 guys in your legion, and that can matter in terms of some things you can do in battle and that kind of stuff. Your centurion is obviously the man in charge of your legion. Having a good opinion with him can unlock some other experiences throughout the game, and having good luck or good opinion with the proconsul really helps a little bit later in game. Another part of this game is actually ranking up. We can see the character right now, if we look on the right side of the screen, has no rank. We are a simple legionary, one of about 120 in a mana pool. Over the course of the game, if you perform well and with a little bit of random chance, you can actually rank up. Through ranks like Optio, you can become the Centurion. Eventually, I think you can become the Centurio Primo, which was basically the best Centurion in the whole Legion, which can also lead to some interesting things, especially in the Greece campaign at the end of the game. But for now, let's go ahead and hop in. A lot of the other stuff that we'd normally have to worry about, like training for your different skills, workouts, which kind of increase some of your attributes, we won't have to worry about in this playthrough. The biggest thing will be buying and selling equipment, which we can see if we just click search, it brings up different equipment. We can also see that our time left in the top right here went down. As you do more things in camp, that time gradually continues to go down until you run out of time, and you normally will move forward in the campaign. And funnily enough, because we clicked into this, we've actually unlocked Chainmail 7, which is, I believe, the best quality chainmail you can get in the game. So I am going to go ahead and buy that immediately and equip that, because I think we only had Chainmail 4 before. So this is where we'll be spending a lot of our time, just randomly rolling for equipment each time. Yes, we do want to leave. Another thing you can do is leisure. This will improve your morale, which again is another thing that matters, or you can do some other things here which can increase your relationship with the troop or the centurion or whatnot. We also do have the miscellaneous category down here, which allows us to, for example, take an extra patrol, extra guard, extra coaching, that kind of stuff, which will allow us to really up those opinions. So for now, I feel like we're pretty good on equipment, so I don't want to waste too much time there. You can see there's already been some improvements of opinions because I had to go through and randomly generate some equipment. So you also get events that pop up in camp which can increase or decrease opinion depending on your stats. So let's go ahead and hop in. I think for now we are just going to keep searching through equipment, and that's why, as you can see, equipment is interesting because it has coverage, damage protection, and anti-armor resistance. In addition, quite a few of the different equipment will give you a penalty to certain stats. For example, greaves will obviously affect your quickness because you're wearing armor around your calves. Generally, the higher the material quality, the better the stats are on it. So for this one, you can see the leg coverage goes up, damage protection and anti-armor resistance go up. So that's a pair of greaves we definitely want. And we'll just keep generating over and over again until we probably run out of time. Oh, so this is one of the random events. A thread of your life is spun. You have known Quintus Labanus since you were kids. Now he's in the same maniple as you. You have noticed that he's been acting very nervously as of late. We're going to ask him what is wrong. And you can see we have these stats in order to pass this check. After a little persuasion, you convince him to spit it out. You remember that Quintus lost his father in the disaster of Cannae about 6 years ago. Then again, there is hardly anyone in Rome who has not lost someone on that grievous day. Your leaders believed that they could crush Hannibal's army by sheer force of numbers. He proved them wrong. The harshest lesson ever taught in living memory. Quintus has been waiting for a chance to fight back for such a long time, and yet now that his opportunity is drawing near, his fear of dying in the impending battles is prevailing. One can hardly blame him, considering that your armies faced disaster on disaster since the war began. After sharing his concerns with you, Quintus looks overtly relieved. He thanks you for the talk and goes about his business. Virtue is increased by 2, opinion is increased by 3 from the troop, which is good. Sometimes you'll get random combat encounters, a lot of time it's different encounters with people in the camp for certain things. But we are going to keep looking for now. And we're going to buy this Utresko Corinthian helmet. And we'll keep rolling more equipment. And there's a level 7 one, which we will be buying. Normally you don't get this lucky with level 7 equipment, but hey, I will take it. Especially stuff like this, the Gladius Hispanius 7. You can see, compared to our current sword, it's got a lot more damage, anti-armor is better, the handiness is better, reach is the same, and material quality is much better. So I think actually we now have everything level 7, which is normally not something you get this early into the game at all. Normally it's much later. When you do go back to Italy at one point, you can get some pretty good equipment, or especially in Greece you'll get different styles of equipment, and that's normally where you see that final level up in equipment. A thread of your life is spun. You are on guard duty when you hear a strange noise. It came from somewhere to your left. We will investigate the strange noise. Int. It's just an owl. With relief, you go back to your post. The rest of your shift passes off without incident. And there we go. Sometimes you can just have events like that. Other times it could be Carthaginian soldiers waiting and trying to sneak up on the camp. It's kind of random each time you play. You also do receive regular pay in the game, 37 dinar, along with you receive pay from loot after large battles. But nothing here that particularly interests us. I think our other sword is better. Even still here, we'll compare these. This sword has better max damage, but this one has better guaranteed damage. The handiness is slightly better. We'll buy it, but I don't want to equip it just in case we need to use it in the future. And for now, we're just going to try and pass time more and more and more. We're actually going to go ahead and go into miscellaneous, and we're going to take some extra guard. Actually, we're going to take extra patrol, because there is a risk of random encounters here. But you can see for every time we do it, we gain troop and centurion opinion. But we do get random encounters. Your patrol comes under attack by a distant group of slingers. You are unharmed because of our defensive skill. The slingers melt into the nearby vegetation. Any attempts of pursuit would be fruitless and probably lead to another ambush. Those were not enemy troops. It looks like the locals are not too happy about your presence. Similar episodes are being reported more and more frequently. So we'll just keep going on patrols to pass the time. Alright. Time is over. Move on to the next main battle as soon as you feel ready. So now, a lot of this stuff's now grayed out. You wouldn't be able to do workouts or by gear or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and click move on, and that'll kind of move us along in the story to the next major battle. The camp burst into activity as the whole army prepares to leave. You march to the south. It doesn't take long for your destination to become apparent. You are bound for New Carthage, the capital of Carthaginian colonies here in Hispania. It's a daring move and very risky. Several days later, you reach your destination and set camp not far from the city. According to the camp talk, the closest enemy army is about 10 days' march from here. A long siege is out of the question. You'll have to take New Carthage by storm. You cast a glance at the city walls, strong stone walls. The thought of fighting your way up there makes your stomach churn. It's hard not to think what you may be looking at, the place where your days will end. It's not exactly great. And so this is the battle screen. You'll see really the only option we have here is continue. You can take a look at the character or your inventory, but that's pretty much it. We do also have deed screen here, so in here it'll show all the rewards you're rewarded along with all the enemies you've killed in the game, but for now we'll just click continue. The next morning, your maniple is among the first to move out of the camp and reach the plain right in front of the city. If what your centurion said is true, the garrison of New Carthage consists of a small mercenary army, possibly 1,000 strong, and of course, the city militia. You are taking your place on the battlefield when all of a sudden, cries of alarm rise from the ranks. You look ahead with a start. The city gate is wide open. A screaming mass numbering thousands leaves the safety of the walls, quickly closing the gap with your partially deployed first line. Judging by their scan equipment, they must be the militia. The enemy commander wouldn't risk his precious mercenaries like this. Blood pounding in your ears, you get ready to receive them as the first battle of your life engulfs you. And here we go. When the other side is at the right distance, you prepare to hurl your first javelin, and we're going to go for a specific target because we have the skill. If your skill's super low, I definitely recommend you throw it into the enemy ranks, but we're going to go for a specific target, which is just an enemy soldier, and we hurl it. And our aim is true. The missile strikes true, killing your unfortunate victim on the spot. We gain troop opinion, centurion opinion, and our morale goes up. As the other side gets closer and closer, we steel ourselves for the upcoming fight. And we'll go ahead and throw our second javelin. We can see that this militiaman looks like they have a spear and a shield, but they actually don't have any armor anywhere. Some other things to take note of on here is these red circles are health. These blue circles are actually your stance, your stance, apologies. And this other circle down here, which you'll see gradually fill up green, is actually your exhaustion. As you become more and more exhausted, you take more penalties. As your stance decreases, you become more and more prone to strike. In addition, we have this sliding bar down here, which is basically how attacking or defensive you want to be. At the beginning of the game, I definitely recommend either keeping balanced or keeping more on the defensive side to keep yourself alive, but with the amount of skills we have, I'm going to set it to all-out attack. But I'll go ahead and throw this javelin at the militiaman first, and we can see we nailed him in the groin and killed him. So now we'll take respite to go ahead and heal some of that exhaustion. Normally you don't get this many respites in a turn, but again, due to our stats, we will. Now we'll go ahead and attack. In the normal game, torso, especially on a number of targets, is what you want to go for. When you start getting more armored enemies, you might want to start going for things like the neck and the groin, because those are normally lesser guarded areas. Even the legs if they don't have greaves, but I prefer to go to the neck because you do a lot of damage to the neck. But next one will just be torso to guarantee the kill, and we've killed him. Also, for every round you do something, it counts on a round up here. You normally get between 19 and 24 rounds per each combat phase, basically. So you see, right now we're just fighting militiamen, so we'll go for our same neck chop and slash across the torso. And we can see that the neck attack's probably doing about twice the damage of the torso. Once again, we'll go for the neck here, and then the torso. And we'll just keep respiting, trying to preserve as much energy as possible. That one did 54, 25. Again, more respite, trying to keep their exhaustion from going up. Get another neck attack, and torso. We're going to go ahead and continue this. Another neck attack. You see, when we miss, we actually will lose some of our stance, and we can go ahead and hit recover and recover our stance. You can see they attacked and they missed us, so they lost stance, which now actually increases our hit chance. And just like that, we just absolutely nailed that guy in the neck and probably chopped his head off. So you can see a message up here. The situation is shifting. You won't be able to keep facing the current enemy for much longer, because basically the lines will rotate. So normally that means within the next probably 4 or 5 rounds, you will be rotated back and the line behind you will come up. So we're just going to try and kill as many as possible. There we go, round 18. Eventually the enemy formation starts breaking apart. Very soon panic spreads as their wavering turns into a rout. And that'll be the end of that combat. The Carthaginian militia is in disarray. For a brief moment you stare at the bodies scattered across the ground. A few legionaries, but the vast majority are militiamen. In the ensuing chaos you barely have time to think about your first kill, and probably about first 6. An improvised pursuit is attempted, but your vanguard is stopped at the city gate before you can break in. And that's the end of the first combat. So we will go ahead and have more combats afterwards. One thing I forgot to mention is the character's name. We did actually name our character Maximus Decimus Meridius, which is the name of the character Russell Crowe plays in Gladiator, which is a great movie, recommended if you haven't seen it. But just thought paying a little bit of homage to that would be fun. Anyways, we'll continue on. The Centurion beckons to you and a couple other legionaries. You are to temporarily leave the maniple and report back to the camp. When you arrive, you discover what's going on. You'll be part of a 500-strong unit with a very special task. Proconsul Scipio himself leads you away from the battlefield, close to the edge of a lagoon which runs along the northern portion of the city walls. Once there, he invites you to get into the lake. You look at each other in confusion. Surely he's not expecting you to swim to the walls. The local guides who are accompanying your party move forward with an amused expression on their faces. The water is surprisingly shallow at this time of the day. The low tide allows you to walk to the other side. Here the walls are completely undefended. As your companions prepare the ladders for an easy climb, you throw a look back at the opposite shore, just in time to see the proconsul and his escort ride back to the battlefield. You scale the walls undisturbed and quickly move eastwards along the battlement. Most of the defenders run away from you, but eventually you meet a small group intent on stopping your advance. We'll go ahead and throw our javelin, killing him, hitting him in the groin. There's no time to dwell on what just happened. You rush forward along with the rest of the assault team. Soon you reach the eastern gate, letting in the bulk of your legions. So now we've let the entire legion in. You follow your maniple into the city streets. Your orders are very clear. Secure the city by killing everything that meets you in the open. Hopefully nobody will be so ill-considered. Your thoughts are interrupted when a small number of militiamen stand in your path. We'll go ahead and throw our javelin. And that's that encounter. You look at the militiaman's lifeless body. Quick thoughts flickering through your mind is pity. Drafted into service, forced to fight to defend his home. It does ring a bell. You wonder about the people waiting for him at home, never to see him come back. Your virtue has increased by 2. An officer yelling out orders brings you back down to earth with a bump. You move on. You keep marching along the streets. As is custom, looting is strictly prohibited until the battle is over, and we're going to stick to the rules and go ahead to the rally point. There are certain events that will unlock if you go ahead and decrease your virtue, such as looting and a few other things that I don't really know, to be honest, mainly because of the fact that I normally do positive virtue runs every time I play. But we'll stick to the rules and go ahead to the rally point. And then we'll go ahead and hit continue. New Carthage is almost conquered, but 500 mercenaries from the garrison are still holding the citadel. The proconsul is looking for volunteers for an assault on this last bastion. He's throwing in more than doubled loot share. These mercenaries are nothing like the militia you have been facing until now. They may not be the enemy's best troops, they wouldn't have been left here if they were, but they're still professional soldiers. Only the most experienced legionaries are volunteering. No one would blame you if you backed off, but we're going to volunteer because we have good stats. You step forward, taking your place among the volunteers. Our opinions from the troops, centurion, and proconsul all increase, which is good. Your newly assembled force makes its way to the citadel. The mercenaries are waiting for you in the open. Numbers are on your side, but they have the high ground, which we'll see in this next battle. When the other side is at the right distance, you prepare to hurl your first javelin. We'll pick off a specific target. We take aim, and we kill the guy on the spot. Excellent. The enemies have the high ground. Your max stance is penalized by the adverse conditions. So normally you'll see that up here. You can see our max stance is decreased by 5, which gives us a little bit of a disadvantage, especially when you're low stat. But when we're at this high of a stat, it really doesn't matter. So we'll go ahead and throw our javelin first. You can see that hit him in the neck, and when you have this quilted armor, neck armor actually matters. So we're actually still going to try and hit this guy in the neck. But we can see we missed. He's going to attack us in the head. He's going to miss. We'll recover. And now we're actually going to go for his legs because they're unarmored. We're going to try and go ahead and go for the groin now. And that killed him. Now we'll respite to gain up more energy. We'll go for the neck again. But we missed again, and then we'll recover. We're going to go for the neck again. But you can see he's got that armor there. So neck is probably not what we want. So we'll just keep going for the groin this time. But you can see the armor took up a little bit of. That's okay. We can also do the torso. Quilted armor really doesn't have a lot of armor on the torso, so we can kind of pierce through a lot of it. But I think we're going to still keep going with the groin here. And we should be able to nearly kill with 2 attacks. This one will go to the torso for a guaranteed kill. We'll rest up again. Once again, going for the groin. Hopefully we can get entirely past the armor and kill in 2. That's the best case scenario. Another mercenary. We're just going to keep our tactic of attacking the groin and then the torso. You can also see that each time we kill one of these enemies, we're actually gaining opinion from the centurion and our troop as we basically prove ourselves as a soldier. So you can see 3 opinion from troop, 3 opinion from centurion, and we get some morale. I'll go ahead and recover and then rest up. This is probably going to be our last round. Oh, 1 hit kill, excellent. And that's that. As a brief lull in the fighting allows for it, your centurion gives a signal to rotate. The line behind yours moves forward while you orderly fall back to the rear. From your current position, it's difficult to figure out what's going on ahead. One after another, the rows before you fall back at the centurion's signal. Slowly you find yourself once again at the front. So now we just have to close in. We'll go all out attack. He's got quilted armor, so we'll start going for the groin again. That's another dead mercenary. Again, more quilted armor. We went missed, but I'm going to try and hit again anyways. He missed 2, which increases our chance of hitting, and our last attack we'll just go for the torso, because we can cut through that armor. Now we'll recover, get that stance back, and respite. This is a breastplate, so we'll go for the neck. Breastplate doesn't have any neck armor. So once again, resting, more quilted. We'll go for the groin. We miss, then we hit. We get attack, he misses, we'll recover. And then go for the groin. He's gonna recover. We're still going for the groin. There we go. Once again, more quilted armor. We're going to keep going for that same spot, and we miss. We'll go for 2 torso hits, then hit recover, and respite. We're gonna keep up the same tactic. Get to round 18, just more resting. This will probably be the last one we face, so hopefully we can kill him. And that'll be that. Unfortunately, he gets away, but we do injure him. Eventually, the enemy formation starts breaking apart. Very soon, panic spreads as their wavering turns into a rout. You can see we seriously wounded that guy, but didn't kill him. We still got some opinion from it. At last, the hopelessness of their predicament prevails. The mercenaries are surrendering. And we'll go ahead and click continue. New Carthage has fallen. For the first time in so many years, a change in the tides of war appears within grasp. Morale increased by 8. You receive your share of the loot, 120. Your role in the Citadel assault is awarded, and we get 150 extra. Your army has obtained an important base of operations. The city's resources will be invaluable for the rest of the campaign. And we'll go ahead and hit continue. You can see fighting in real battle has sharpened your skills. All of our skills increased by 5 and another 1 because of our deeds in combat. Our battle prowess is rewarded. We get a bronze armilla, which is just a reward for doing well in battle essentially. And we have been promoted to Tesserus, which means we actually have a rank now. But I think that is where we can go ahead and end episode 1. If you like this episode, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more videos, leave a comment down below with what you liked. If you disliked the video, you can hit the dislike button, but let me know down in the comments below what you disliked. I'm always looking to make improvements. I hope you have a nice rest of your day. Bye bye.